Okay, so here I go. This video is called Death is Not Stalking Us, and I'm making it very close to midnight Colorado time, which is not typical. I normally don't make videos this late, but some things started occurring to me as I was out walking my dog about 15 minutes ago. And the thought that occurred to me was, well, it looks like I survived another dog walk, which doesn't sound like a very treacherous event to participate in. But for one reason or the other, I just was very mindful that every moment that we survive is not guaranteed, which I've known this my whole life. But recently, in the past 6 months, I had several people that are close to me die, and it has increasingly gotten me to pay attention to some things that I hadn't been paying attention to. For a long time, I was comfortable with my own death. Just been that way ever since I was a kid. I, at an early age, realized that Black people weren't the most popular people in the world, especially living in the South. So I already had that kind of hanging over me. My granddad died young, and I was on like 3, turning 4 when he died, and that impacted me. And I just kind of hit that point that Ernest Becker calls mortality salience when I was really young. So I became aware of my own mortality, like around 4 years old, right before I turned 4. And ever since then, I kind of just been like, yeah, people die. I'm gonna die. Everybody's gonna die. And then I lived under a tremendous amount of stress and threat for a bunch of years. And so I really, as I've mentioned in the past, assumed that I was going to die pretty early and didn't expect to outlive many people. But I have outlived some people, and recently, as I've mentioned in past videos, I outlived my younger brother. And since then, I've been thinking, like, wow, I might outlive a lot of people. In fact, there's a chance every person that I know now, there's a chance that they may die before me, whether they're older than me or younger than me. And I don't know why that thought never occurred to me before. Like I said, I was comfortable with my mortality, and I was comfortable with the awareness that a lot of people older than me were going to die. And I never really thought I bought into the idea of uh, people who are younger than you will outlive you. I didn't think I bought into that, but obviously I did on some level. And now that I'm aware of it, I find this kind of idea that's been hanging around me a lot, which is, well, who's next? And I've been thinking that a lot. Like, I don't want to think it, but almost every day I'm like, who's next? And somebody calls me, I'm like, uh-oh. And it's just kind of hanging out, I'm being honest with it. And I've tried to resist it, but it just comes up anyway. So instead of resisting it, I'm trying to be with it and learn whatever I have to learn from that question, who's next? And is it me? And there's a lot that has come up with it, but one thing that's come up with it is the deep awareness of how fearful of death so many of us are, and how poorly American culture handles death. We just kind of keep it away from us. We try to deny it. People try to make themselves look younger forever because they don't want to face the fact that they're going to get old and die, hopefully. And then also this illusion of being able to be protected from death. And it's kind of crazy because I was talking to someone today who disagrees with me politically, and they were just saying all this stuff about how um, I can't even say this dude's name. The guy who occupies the White House um, keeps women safe. I don't know why they think that, but that's what they think. And the number of times that that person says safe made me really think, like, wow, you're really afraid that bad in your context as a wealthy white person, woman, that you're that afraid that you need to be made safe by that person. That's sad. Especially given the context that I grew up in and a lot of other people grow up in, and the people who um, have been dealing with a lot of extra crap since this dude came on the scene. But this person feels like this fool keeps her safe. And I start thinking about the psychosis, no offense to her, that has to be, a lot of people had to be dealing with if they think that that person is keeping them safe. And what does that say for folks who um are living under just like constant fear. I heard a Mexican dude who was a Trump supporter who was hurt because his business had been failing. I'm sorry for smiling while I'm saying it, but it's kind of funny because he voted for Trump. He voted for Trump as a Latino dude, and now his business is struggling. And he was like, "Dang, Mr. Trump, you're supposed to be our hero." And I was like, "Dang, he thought Trump was his hero." I said that guy's name. Anyway, but what does that mean? That he's gonna save them? And it just made me think like how much our society is built around people being afraid of death, this inevitable, and then building structures and systems to try to protect them from it, and then following people that they think is a hero that's going to protect them from it. And this makes me think even about the religions that we follow, because the religions, all it is a guarantee that after this body dies, that they're going to keep going because we're still scared of death. So then we just project death, like another life after this life. And we're like, oh, if I follow this person, then the religious person becomes our hero. And it's just really sad how we live because we live as if we're being constantly stalked by death, like it's a real grim reaper just hanging out waiting to kill us. And it's like coming to get us because uh, it's just doing something. I think deeply, people. Thanks for joining. But we're so afraid of death that it makes us outside of our minds, like as if death is anthropomorphized and really trying to stalk us. And it's not stalking us, it's just what happens to us. All of us who are born are going to die. And when we cannot embrace that, it makes us one, it makes us miss out on life. It makes us miss out on the real moments that matter. It makes us um kind of because we're fearful of our own demise and the demise of other things and the fear of getting hurt and the fear of loss that's tied to the fear of death, it makes us less human. And then we give up our power and our volition and our capacity for imagination and everything because we want somebody to save us from something that we can't be saved from. Whereas in other cultures that have a more healthy relationship with our mortality, they're able to navigate these spaces. I mean, I'm assuming I haven't lived in one of those cultures, but I assume as I've been processing the grief of losing 3 people in 6 months, I am learning from it. I'm walking with it. I'm growing from it. And as I said earlier, because of the rapidity of the deaths that have shown up in my life in the past 6 months, I have been thinking about who's next and what if it's me, but not in a way that makes me like terrified, but more in a way that makes me curious, in a way that makes me want to be as present as possible with people, in a way that makes me do things when I feel like doing them. Like I feel like making this video at midnight after walking my dog. Normally I'll say this is the last to go to bed, but you know what? I might die in my sleep, so fuck it. Let me make this video right now. It's like it's so much life that we could have if we just embraced our mortality and like lived into it and tried to build our relationships with more substance and so many things. But because we live as if we're like perpetually stalked, and some of us are, but we're stalked by people who are fearful. And so it's like, how can we keep living like this? It's horrible to watch the way that we treat each other because of fear. And the main fear is fear of death. And if you overcome that, then I mean, I guess it gives you more liberty to love and to grow and imagine and to create and all sorts of things. And I guess one thing I could say positive about religion, and one of the reasons why I've always been curious about Christ is because he never tried to get out of his death. Yeah, people say he was resurrected. Maybe he was, maybe he wasn't, maybe it was mental. Who knows? I don't know. I wasn't there. But what I do know from the stories is that this person lived into every moment of their life. And even when he was facing death, he was like, oh, can I get out of this? Guess not. And he kept on living. He kept on going toward his truth. And that's something that we can all be inspired by. Like, what is your truth? What would you go toward if you weren't afraid all the freaking time? Who could you love? Who could you be present with? Who could you get out of your life because they're wasting your time because you got more life to live and they're just annoying you? I mean, it's very sobering. That's one of the things that I've been saying when people have been talking to me about losing my brother, my little brother, and my aunt last week, and my stepdad some months ago, is what like they've been checking in on me, and I've been telling them it's sobering. That's what it is. These experiences are painful. I've been through all types of emotions, but they're sobering. And I've been looking at other things in my life in the past and been looking at them more soberly because I've been able to look at them through the lens of grief. And it's more like a purifying lens than anything. And it's not something to be afraid of because you grieve because you love. And if you don't grieve, it's probably because the thing didn't penetrate you. You didn't let yourself be vulnerable to love and to being loved. And so, um, before I let you go, I just want to say that don't live with the fear of death. Like, just make peace with it. It's going to happen anyway. So make peace with it and then take the moments that, like, ask yourself questions like, well, if this is my last day, what do I want to do with it? If this is my last breath, how do I want to spend it? And make life sweeter because we're acknowledging the fact that we won't be here forever. So that's my little bit of advice that I'm offering for people as I continue to navigate my own grief journey, and just holding people in this awareness that, yeah, we all signed up for this. you know I guess you can't say signed up for this, but as soon as you were born, you started the process of dying. That's just how it is. So how could you live if you weren't using so much of your brain to manage this fear? I guess another thing I'll add to it is I have read this guy named Ernest Becker, who wrote a book called The Denial of Death, and I would invite you to check it out, which he gets into some of this stuff that I'm saying. And there's some other people who've written about Ernest Becker's work, and they talk about this thing they call terror management theory, which is this idea that we spend a lot of our time in managing the terror of knowing that we won't be alive at some point. But because we're managing that terror, we miss out on the life we have. So personally, I'm excited that I am allowing myself to confront these things, and I'm grateful for whatever I've cultivated over time that allows me to look at stuff straight up instead of trying to, like, avoid it. It's human, and I want to be as present with my humanity as long as I have it, because who knows how long I'm gonna have it. So, thank you. Think deeply, people, for being here. And whoever checks this video out later, I hope it provides some kind of sobering moment for you, and that it may inspire you to be present with the life that you have and not spend so much of our energy being afraid, because we see where fear has gotten us. And the Bible does teach that all people become slaves to what they fear. And so if you're afraid of death, you're a slave to death anyway. And you're a slave to the people that you think can control your life by manipulating you with the fear of death. So my prayers for all of y'all is that you live deeply, be present, and taste life for all that it has to offer. Peace.